Elizabeth Taylor, one of Hollywood's greatest stars, lived a tumultuous life, from the height of fame to emotional and health tragedies. Despite being an icon of beauty and talent, she also faced loss and pain many times. Have you ever wondered if the price of fame is a life full of suffering? Let's explore Elizabeth Taylor's ups and downs in today's video. Childhood and early career. Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor was born on the 27th of February 1932 in Hampstead, an affluent area of northwest London, England. She was the youngest of two children, born to Frances Len Taylor, a prominent art dealer, and Sarah Southern, a former American stage actress. Her parents were both from middle-class families, but with their close ties to the arts, they created an environment rich in creative inspiration for Elizabeth from an early age. The Taylor family moved to England when her father opened an art gallery in London. However, when World War II broke out in 1939, they decided to return to the United States to avoid danger. The family initially settled in Los Angeles, where Frances opened a new art gallery catering to the Hollywood elite. It was here that Elizabeth first came into contact with the entertainment industry. From a young age, Elizabeth amazed everyone around her with her natural beauty, with striking purple eyes framed by thick black eyelashes. Not only that, she also showed her artistic talent through ballet lessons from the age of 3. According to her mother, Elizabeth not only had an attractive appearance, but also had special performing ability, although at that time, she never thought of becoming an actress. In 1941, when Elizabeth was only 9 years old, a family friend introduced her to producers at Universal Pictures. After a brief audition, Elizabeth received her first role in the film There's One Born Every Minute, 1942. Although the film was not a commercial success, Elizabeth attracted attention for her natural demeanor in front of the camera. Just a year later, she moved to sign a contract with MGM, which opened the door for her career. Here, Elizabeth received formal training in acting, foreign languages, and public manners, an important part of building the image of a Hollywood star at that time. Elizabeth's breakthrough success came in 1944 when she played Velvet Brown in the film National Velvet. The film tells the touching story of a young girl who wins the Grand National Horse Race and captures the hearts of audiences around the world. With a revenue of more than $4 million USD, this is considered one of MGM's biggest successes at that time. This role not only helped Elizabeth affirm her name, but also made her loved as a promising child star. After National Velvet, Elizabeth Taylor continued to conquer audiences through a series of other films. In 1949, she participated in Little Women, a work adapted from the classic novel by Louisa May Alcott. In the film, Elizabeth played the character Amy March, an ambitious and proud young girl. This role showed Elizabeth's growing acting ability far beyond her previous child star image. In 1950, Elizabeth starred in the romantic comedy Father of the Bride. The film tells the story of the relationship between a young bride and her father during the preparation for the wedding. This role not only helped her gain recognition from critics, but also made her name more familiar to the general audience. The film was a huge success at the box office and continued to produce a sequel, Father's Little Dividend, 1951. The 1950s witnessed Elizabeth's strong transformation from a child star to a true film icon. In 1951, she took on the leading role in A Place in the Sun, a critically acclaimed psychological drama. In the film, Elizabeth transforms into Angela Vickers, a rich, attractive, but tragic woman. This role not only affirmed Elizabeth's acting talent, but also opened up many great opportunities for her career. In 1956, she collaborated with James Dean and Rock Hudson in the film Giant, an epic about class and cultural conflicts in Texas. Giant was a resounding success, nominated for 10 Oscars. and continued to solidify Elizabeth's position as one of Hollywood's leading actresses. In particular, 1958 marked an important milestone in her career with the role of Maggie Pollitt in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, a film based on the famous play by Tennessee Williams. Elizabeth's performance as the wife full of love earned her her first Oscar nomination for Best Actress. The film was not only a commercial success, but also considered one of the classics of American cinema. From her childhood years, immersed in art, to her brilliant acting career, Elizabeth Taylor has proven that she is not only a lucky star, but also a talented, passionate artist who constantly strives to reach the top. With 8 marriages to 7 men, Elizabeth Taylor was not only an icon of beauty and talent, but also the embodiment of passionate, dramatic, and tragic love affairs. What made a talented woman like her go through such tumultuous relationships? Do the stories behind each of these marriages reflect a desire to find true happiness, or just the price to pay for the Hollywood spotlight? Stormy marriages. Elizabeth married for the first time at the age of 18 to Conrad Hilton Jr., heir to the Hilton Hotel empire. This marriage marked the beginning of a series of dramatic love stories for her. Initially, their wedding was considered the wedding of the century, with thousands of guests in attendance and highly praised by the media. However, behind the glamorous appearance were deep disagreements. Hilton had an unrestrained partying lifestyle, was often drunk, and behaved violently, leaving Elizabeth feeling deeply hurt. The marriage quickly fell apart after only 8 months, leaving Elizabeth with her first lesson in the difference between love and the reality of marriage. At the age of 20, Elizabeth married Michael Wilding, a British actor 20 years older than her. Michael brought Elizabeth a sense of security and stability, which she desperately needed after the shock of her first marriage. During this time, they had 2 children together, Michael Jr. and Christopher. However, the difference in age and outlook on life gradually caused them to drift apart. Michael preferred a quiet life, while Elizabeth was attracted to the glamour of Hollywood. Although the marriage ended after 5 years, they parted ways peacefully, and Elizabeth always maintained respect for Michael. Elizabeth's marriage to Eddie Fisher put her at the center of one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood history. Eddie was the husband of Elizabeth's close friend, Debbie Reynolds. After the death of Elizabeth's 3rd husband, Mike Todd, Eddie comforted her, and the two began a relationship. Eddie's abandonment of Debbie for Elizabeth caused public outrage, and Elizabeth was labeled a homewrecker. Elizabeth and Eddie's marriage did not last long. Although they had happy moments, pressure from public opinion and personality differences caused them to separate. This was also the period when Elizabeth realized that media attention was not always positive, and she had to learn to deal with public criticism. Richard Burton, 1964, 1974, and 1975-1976, the most intense love affair. The relationship with Richard Burton was the most famous and complicated love story of Elizabeth's life. They met on the set of Cleopatra, 1963, where they both starred. Their love began like a storm, intense, passionate, but also stormy. Their first marriage lasted 10 years, but endless arguments, combined with both of their alcoholic lifestyles, led to divorce. Just a year later, Elizabeth and Richard remarried, hoping to start over. However, the old problems quickly returned, and they divorced again. Although they could not maintain the marriage, their love was undeniable. Burton wrote in his diary that Elizabeth was the only woman he had ever truly loved, and Elizabeth also admitted that her relationship with Richard left her with the deepest feelings. After her divorce from Richard Burton, Elizabeth continued to seek stability in her subsequent relationships. She was married to John Warner, a senator from 1976 to 1982. During this time, Elizabeth felt lonely and did not adapt to political life in Washington, D.C. After the divorce, She focused on charity work and rebuilding her public image. Elizabeth's last marriage was to Larry Fortensky, 1991–1996, a construction worker she met at a drug rehabilitation center. Although they had a sincere relationship, their major differences in lifestyle meant that marriage could not last. The successive marriages and pressure from public opinion greatly affected Elizabeth's personal life and psychology. She has admitted that she has always felt lonely, even in seemingly the happiest of relationships. However, Elizabeth has never let these struggles define her life. She has fought not only to find love, but also to establish herself as a symbol of strength and resilience. Despite the storms she faced, Elizabeth Taylor is still remembered as a passionate woman who dared to live and love to the fullest, not afraid to overcome social prejudices. Her love life is not only a dramatic story, but also a lesson in courage and self-respect in the glamorous but also extremely harsh world of Hollywood. Elizabeth Taylor was not only a prominent silver screen star with her captivating beauty and legendary purple eyes, but also one of the best actresses of the 20th century. Her career was a colorful picture, marked by her lifelong roles and classic films. With her natural acting talent, perseverance, and ability to transform on screen, Elizabeth has become an irreplaceable icon of Hollywood for decades. Career and legendary roles. Elizabeth Taylor is one of the few actresses to win 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress, proving her top acting ability and tireless dedication to art. Butterfield 8, 1960. The role of Gloria Wondrous in this film brought Elizabeth her first Oscar. The film tells the story of a complex woman, full of conflicts between love and the desire for freedom, a role that is completely suitable for Elizabeth. This was also one of the films where she accepted the role in a painful situation after having just lost her beloved husband, Mike Todd. Although she was not satisfied with this role, Elizabeth put all her energy and personal emotions into delivering a haunting performance, which earned her high praise from critics and audiences. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? 1966. This was the peak of Elizabeth's acting career. In this dramatic film, she played Martha, a bitter, damaged woman in a conflicted marriage with George, played by Richard Burton. The role of Martha was not only a great psychological challenge, but also the clearest demonstration of Elizabeth's deep and subtle ability to transform. The film shook Hollywood, won 5 Oscars, and became one of the greatest films of all time. Cleopatra, 1963. This is Elizabeth's iconic role, where she transformed into the Egyptian queen, Cleopatra. The film was famous not only for its grand scale, but also for the record-breaking $1 million salary that Elizabeth received, the first time in history that an actress had achieved such a salary. Although the film faced many difficulties during production and was controversial about its budget, Elizabeth's performance made Cleopatra a character that lives on in the hearts of audiences. Suddenly, Last Summer, 1959. In the film adaptation of Tennessee Williams's play, Elizabeth starred alongside Katharine Hepburn and Montgomery Clift. Her role as Catherine Holly was a woman deeply traumatized by horrific events. This role brought Elizabeth an Oscar nomination, affirming her versatile acting ability and ability to take on complex roles. The Taming of the Shrew, 1967. In the film adaptation of Shakespeare's classic, Elizabeth played Katerina, a strong, hot-tempered, and unyielding woman. The film was a perfect combination of Elizabeth and Richard Burton, both in acting and in real life. The role demonstrated Elizabeth's ability to perform comedy and drama and affirmed her as a well-rounded actress. Elizabeth Taylor was famous for her ability to transform into strong, multidimensional, and complex characters. Whether playing a powerful queen, a grieving wife, or a damaged woman, she brought emotional depth and conviction to each role. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Elizabeth was not afraid to take on psychologically demanding or controversial roles. This was what made her different and helped her survive in a harsh industry where physical beauty was often valued over talent. More than just an actress, Elizabeth was also a pioneer in negotiating fair wages for artists. Her contract for Cleopatra not only broke all records for salary, but also encouraged other actors to boldly demand fair pay. Throughout her career, spanning more than 6 decades, Elizabeth Taylor has starred in more than 50 films, each of which bears her stamp. From roles in children's films to classics that require extraordinary acting ability, Elizabeth has always been constantly exploring and renewing herself. Elizabeth's films are not only entertainment products, but also works of art, containing profound messages about love, desire, and inner struggles. Through that, she has redefined the role of an actress in Hollywood, becoming an endless source of inspiration for future generations of actors. Elizabeth Taylor is not only a legend, but also an eternal symbol of talent, courage, and boundless passion for art. Although the aura of Hollywood has changed, her contributions to the film industry will always be remembered. Elizabeth is one of Hollywood's greatest stars, but her life was not all glittering, but also full of health challenges. From a young age, Elizabeth faced serious medical problems, many times bringing her close to death. However, her mental strength and will to overcome difficulties have always been an inspiration to many people. Health problems. From a young age, Elizabeth had unstable health. She suffered from congenital scoliosis, which caused her to suffer from constant pain and difficulty in performing daily activities. This problem lasted her whole life, causing her to experience severe back pain, especially when performing scenes that required strength. In 1961, Elizabeth was rushed to the hospital with pneumonia so severely that doctors thought she would not survive. However, she made a miraculous recovery, and her comeback from this dangerous disease attracted great attention from the media, further strengthening the image of the Iron Lady of Hollywood. During her life, Elizabeth Taylor underwent more than 40 major and minor surgeries. One of the most serious problems she faced was heart and kidney-related diseases. Heart disease. In 1983, she was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, a condition in which the heart cannot pump blood effectively. In the last years of her life, Elizabeth had to rely on a pacemaker. Despite the disease's great impact on her health, she maintained an active lifestyle and participated in many charity activities. Kidney problems. Elizabeth suffered from chronic kidney failure and had to undergo regular dialysis for a long time. She once shared about the pain and fatigue caused by this disease, but her optimism helped her overcome the long days of treatment. In addition, Elizabeth also faced cataracts, which left her almost blind in 1997. She underwent successful eye surgery and restored her vision, once again proving her resilience. In addition to physical health problems, Elizabeth also struggled with drug and alcohol addiction for many years. She once shared that the pressure of fame and unhappy marriages caused her to turn to alcohol and painkillers as a way to escape reality. This aggravated her health problems, especially her heart and liver. In 1983, Elizabeth decided to quit her addiction and was hospitalized at the Betty Ford Center, becoming one of the first Hollywood stars to publicly seek addiction treatment. She successfully overcame this challenge and has since become a strong advocate for addiction treatment programs, while inspiring many others facing similar problems. Despite her serious health problems, Elizabeth Taylor always maintained an optimistic spirit. She once said, "I've fallen many times in my life, but the important thing is that I always get up." Although she was once a woman admired by the world for her haughty beauty and outstanding talent, she carried within her a deep loneliness that no amount of glory could erase. Her life was a series of great successes in her career, but at the same time, It was a journey full of suffering in love and personal relationships. Feeling lonely and suffering, Elizabeth Taylor went through 8 marriages with 7 different men. Each love affair began with intense passion, but often ended in pain. She once admitted that falling in love quickly, loving wholeheartedly, and marrying hastily was her way of seeking comfort and a sense of security. However, the consecutive failed marriages left her feeling empty and disappointed. The legendary love affair with Richard Burton is the clearest proof of the interweaving of passion and suffering in her life. Although they were so passionately in love that they remarried after a divorce, their tumultuous relationship could not last because both were too strong and often argued. Elizabeth once shared that, although Burton was the great love of her life, they still could not find peace together. Despite having 4 children, Elizabeth Taylor always found it difficult to balance her career and motherhood. Her busy Hollywood schedule and constant traveling left her little time to spend with her children. However, she always tried to make up for those moments of separation, especially in her later years when her health began to decline. She also faced many challenges in her relationship with her extended family, including her brother and other relatives. Although she was loved, she often felt that people did not understand what she was going through inside: the pressures of fame, the pain of love, and the feeling of being lost in life. The glamour of Hollywood is a dream for many, but for Elizabeth, it sometimes becomes a cage that imprisons her freedom and happiness. As a symbol of beauty and talent, she is constantly scrutinized by the media and the public. Rumors, criticism, and scandals related to her personal life make her feel tired and often fall into a state of depression. Elizabeth once said, "You can have all the fame and money in the world, but no one can buy true love." Despite having countless admirers, Elizabeth still finds it difficult to find someone who truly loves her for who she is inside, rather than for her fame or status. In her later years, as her health deteriorated, Elizabeth was confined to a wheelchair and heavily dependent on medical care. Old relationships faded, and her colleagues in the industry were no longer as close as before. She lived in a lavish mansion in Los Angeles, but the silence and absence of loved ones made her feel more alone than ever. However, Elizabeth did not let herself sink into grief. She spent her final years participating in charity activities, especially AIDS campaigns, a field she was extremely passionate about. Those efforts not only helped her find her purpose in life, but also brought her comfort and joy. Even when she was confined to a wheelchair in her later years, she still participated in charity events, especially fundraising activities for AIDS prevention, a field to which she devoted a lot of effort and passion. In 2011, Elizabeth Taylor passed away at the age of 79 in Los Angeles due to heart failure, ending a life full of glory but also no less painful. However, the legacy she left behind, both in art and in the spirit of overcoming difficulties, will live forever in the hearts of her fans. The tragic end. Elizabeth Taylor passed away on March 23, 2011, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. The cause was congestive heart failure, which had plagued her for many years. She passed away, surrounded by her family and loved ones, in a cozy and peaceful room. Elizabeth's son, Michael Wilding Jr., shared after her death, "My mother was an extraordinary woman who lived life to the fullest, loved to the fullest, and gave her all. Even though she is gone, she will live forever in the hearts of those who loved her." Newspapers and media around the world reported her passing not only as a big Hollywood star, but also as an outstanding humanitarian. Elizabeth Taylor not only left behind a brilliant film career with a series of memorable roles, but also created a great legacy through charitable activities. She was one of the first artists to stand up for raising awareness and raising funds for HIV/AIDS prevention campaigns. In 1985, She co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research, AMFR, and in 1991, she founded the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, ETAF. To date, the foundation has helped millions of people around the world. Her tireless efforts helped change the way society viewed HIV/AIDS at a time when the disease was still heavily stigmatized. Her contributions saved many lives and brought hope to those facing the disease. Despite her passing, Elizabeth Taylor remains an irreplaceable Hollywood icon. Classic films such as Cleopatra, 1963, One Doe's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1966, and Butterfield 8, 1960, continue to inspire a new generation of actors and audiences. Many critics have said that Elizabeth was not only a movie star, but also a true artist who knew how to portray complex characters and convey intense emotions through each role. Millions of fans around the world sent tributes and memories to Elizabeth Taylor after her death. Fellow stars, such as Meryl Streep and Elton John, also praised her not only as a beauty and talent icon, but also as a strong, kind, and compassionate woman. Elton John, a close friend of Elizabeth, said, "Elizabeth was not only a legend, but she was a beacon of kindness. We have lost a friend, but her legacy will live on." Elizabeth Taylor's tragic end did not overshadow her brilliance and influence in the history of art and humanity. She was not only a queen of the silver screen, but also a warrior for justice and human rights. Elizabeth Taylor is gone, but her name will live forever in the hearts of those who loved and admired her. Thank you for following the story of Elizabeth Taylor's life and career. What legacy did she leave in your heart? Which of her roles or social contributions impressed you? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you